Two of our favourite boyos putting out crazy pad training clips. One of them is fighting this week. That's Yuki Yoza in the gold trunks there, fighting Elbaris Ramanov this week. I'm George Hardwick, professional mixed martial artist and coach, breaking this down. Subscribe for more breakdowns. So there's that double jab to uppercut. I'm only really going to be able to break down these combinations effectively once we put the slow-mo on. But his shoulders are nice and loose. See how he's pulling the opposite shoulder back? Even on his kicks, he's pulling the opposite shoulder on that side. He's using that left Chizoku kick, triangle kick, into the liver, under the elbow, really effective, and he can step down into those punches. Sometimes his padman will almost like block there, and he can use his left hook to the block, because it's a bit different. If you know someone's going to block, you might not want to drill the hardest left hook into the block. You might want to do a fast one to pull yourself into that liver angle. 1-2, quite a wide stance. When he's in punching range, he's in a wide stance, and he's taking a big step, overtaking his lead leg, going to that left kick. And then he skips. That first left kick was in orthodox, and the next one is in southpaw. When he's in southpaw, he's using the skip, obviously, to develop as much power as possible. He might not want to use that every time in the fight. And there, he's using that left kick to step into quite an insane combination, as we can see. So he puts his foot down, cross hook into the low kick. See how padded up the calf is. Calf kicks have been doing bits, even against really good Thai fighters. The Japanese fighters recently have been using calf kicks, and Jonathan DeBella using calf kicks against Thais really effectively. There's that big skipping into the right kick, really good for conditioning. And there, he's really using that mixed up rhythm of the tap-tap on the double jab. Not every shot super hard. See, faking with the shoulders, and there's one of the things he'll do. Obviously, his padman didn't have the pad up there, but he'll often throw a right calf kick, and then off of the left side, he'll throw a left hook or a left uppercut. Faking, he goes calf kick, hook, with the foot still in the air. Takes a lot of confidence that you're not going to get hit back there, and it takes a lot of stability in the core, but you can get quite a powerful hit. Sometimes he's used it really well, even off the right body kick. A lot of reloading on the same side, left hook head, left hook body. Obviously, if you attack someone on one side, probably the opening is going to be on that same side a lot of the time. You throw a left hook to the head, that elbow's going to come up. There he goes, Chizoku kick. And then looking at that, he doesn't really bring it back with the ball of the foot like a lot of people do. He seems to dig the toes in, like the actual big toe, like a knife edge there. Big toe into the target. You need some serious conditioning, and he does have that conditioning in his toe because he's been doing these kind of kicks since he was a wean, doing Kyokushin karate. See how he throws that left kick into a combination to right calf kick. If someone's braced to block the left kick and you're firing those combinations, he's probably still braced where that calf's going to be stuck on the floor. Boom. Sometimes Masakasu, the Transformer Padman, the Gundam Man, he'll put his glove up like a block. See there, he doesn't quite get the right shot, but he'll put his pad up almost like a block. So it's a bit of a different hit. If you know someone's blocking, you might just want to manipulate their guard with that first hook. You might not want to load up, because if they're blocking, they might be ready for the counter, whereas a quick slap hook might just off-balance them enough where you've loaded up your own body hook, and there's that big skip into the open side body kick. See how he changes stance when holding for the right kick. Now here's Masaki Noiri. Someone actually sent me, who had no idea who Masaki Noiri was. He just sent me this reel out of the blue because of how powerful these low kicks are. Almost looks like it's hitting between the pads, but I'm pretty sure it's hitting either on that quad pad or the super padded up calf. And it's those shots are actually, it's the most dangerous because you're most likely to kick the knee, but often they do the most damage, kicking at the knee joint. In my last fight, it hurt quite a bit. I could take the calf kicks on the muscle, but the one that hit on the knee joint, it really, really hurt. It hits it almost like a funny bone effect into your leg. The full leg goes a bit numb. So he's kicking at that knee angle, a bit dangerous, but if you're confident in your conditioning and your timing, and you're either hitting just above the knee or just below the knee, sometimes if you get the right angle and hit directly on the knee, you can do huge amounts of damage. You just have to be confident in your timing and confident in your conditioning there. The padman isn't trying to brace for this. This is one of the few times where it's probably a mistake to try and brace for it, because all the force would go into that leg. He's letting it ride. Sometimes it is better to let it ride as a padman, especially when it's that close to the joint. Let it ride to alleviate some of the force. If he was holding for combinations after, he might want to just tense up, bend his leg, tense up and take it so he can hold the next shot. And again, there's that big skip into the open side body kick. There's downsides to the skip. Obviously, you might cover too much distance if someone's waiting to counter, and it's a little bit of a telegraph, but the upside is you're getting a lot more power, and then the skip can actually become a feint once it's established enough. Big open side body kicks. Padmen generally they go into the opposite stance of the man hitting the pads. There's a toe kick to the inside of the leg. Very interesting technique, and then building it up into that Chizoku kick again from the open stance. Really interesting. I'm wondering the advantages of that toe kick into the quad. You know, you probably step down fairly quick, fairly powerful off of it, and it's just a little bit of a different check. Plus, everyone's used to a particular type of pain. People might be used to getting the shin on the inside of the quad, but if they feel the toes in the inside of the quad, might be a bit different. The best example I can think of in an MMA fight is Katsunori Kikuno. I believe it was his one win in the UFC against Sam Sicilia, where he suddenly put on a really good performance. He was using that inside ball of the foot kick to the leg. Very interesting. Again, using that skip into his right kick where he's putting the shin across. When he's putting the shin across power, he's using the skip into it. But there's not much of a skip into it when he uses that Chizoku kick, just kind of whipping it in. Chizoku meaning ball of the foot. If anyone in the comments can correct my Japanese, correct it. Boom, toes into the quad there. See, it's just coming at a slightly different angle, and he might be able to develop more force at a closer range because the area of impact is more concentrated. And then he goes, boom, into the liver. He's hitting more with the ball of the foot, where Yoza was almost like stabbing the big toe in, which was like really conditioned. He's hitting more with the ball of the foot. I don't think there's a better or worse way. I think this is probably less risky, kind of curling the toes back and hitting with the ball of the foot, because every time you do some jump rope, every time you run barefoot in the gym and moving your stance, you'll be getting a little bit of conditioning for that. Masaki Noiri, he's never always on the pads. See, a lot of fighters are always on. They're always in character. If they're not hitting, they're moving around, they're faking, they're in that fight character. Whereas Masaki Noiri, he will relax. And I think on a plus side, it's why he's so relaxed and can hit so hard and be so energy efficient. But sometimes he has needed to up the pace in fights, especially when he's been down 1 or 2 rounds, and it's not there in the same way that it is for some other fighters. But, you know, there are upsides to switching off a little bit, having a little bit of a move around. There, he's not getting a full twist of the toes, especially when he's doing that Chizoku ball of the foot kick into the liver, because it's probably not necessary. See, this right foot here doesn't turn all the way out like a Thai left body kick where you come up on your toes and twist until your toes are facing in the opposite direction. He's not really doing that. The advantage is he doesn't need as big a wind-up. It's not as big a tell, and he can just put his foot down and throw punches immediately a lot more easily because he doesn't have to get his toes back facing forward. So there's not that full twist on the standing foot. He doesn't tend to do it either on his round kicks because it has that 45-degree angle that a lot of Japanese fighters have where they're kicking up under the elbow. But especially on his toe kicks, he tends to just turn his toes out minimally. You know, you don't turn your toes all the way out on a knee. He doesn't turn his toes all the way out on a ball of the foot kick or even on his round kicks because he likes to step down, he likes to punch after. This is a huge part of Kyokushin karate, which is the background of a lot of Team Vaselis fighters, particularly Masaki Noiri and Yuki Yoza. A lot of these guys, they'll throw the kick and they'll step down with the shoulders square there without a fully turned over foot. So they can throw punches, they can throw more kicks, so it's a little bit quicker, rather than the full Thai heel up rotation around, pivoting on the point. And awesome pad technique by Masakasu all the time, standing in the opposite stance to wherever the power side kick is coming into and not padding miles away from his body. He's allowing some of it to come across the body pad. It's a really good advantage to have a big body pad like that because you can take some of it across the body pad and then just go corner to corner with the Thai pads. And it's a much more realistic point of impact than when you see people hold like the Thai kicks with their arms stretched out. There's an old video of Cain Velasquez at an open workout and he's got someone holding pads and they're doing the classic wrong style of pads where they're reaching their arms out so they can't get a full rotation of their hips, and it doesn't really feel like kicking across a body. It does feel like kicking up into a pad. I've been George Hardwick, breaking down some more Masaki Noiri and more Yuki Yoza. There's like 10 million breakdowns of these guys on the channel. Subscribe if you got any links to good sparring videos, because I can't read Thai Sanskrit or, you know, Japanese kanji. Are those the right words for it? I can't read them. If you've got links for them, send them. Peace. Patreon, all that stuff.